So what's up, guys? Today a little bit of a motivational video. We will watch my first reel from back on the day on my original first PC. This reel is, I think, exactly 10 years old. I'd say exactly 10 years old. Maybe next month it's 10 years old. I'm not exactly sure. So someone on Instagram DM'd me already some weeks back, but I remember today, and he basically asked me why so many bad 3D artists have a kind of successful 3D career and so many really good 3D artists maybe don't even get any jobs at all, which I find pretty interesting because I maybe was one of these bad 3D artists, and you'll see in my reel. So let's look at what I created and what actually brought in jobs, quite a lot of jobs, even Volkswagen. So let's watch it. So the first video. What even is this car paint? So I modeled this car, believe it or not, but back in the day, even Damien Matthew modeled cars. I know, insane thought, but actually true. So I modeled quite a few cars back in the day before I knew that no one actually models cars except me and other noobs out there. So you see, I don't even know what the hell this car paint is. Why did I make this animation? I made this because I was using Cinema 4D at the time, and I found out that Blender had a smoke simulation, so I could not resist to make a drifting car. And actually back in the day, I wanted exactly this car. Sadly, I was able to afford it at some point, but as many know, did get a Mustang instead. But still, I do regret a little bit that I did not get a Nissan 350 or 370. And now looking at the 400, looking pretty tasty once again. But let's move on. Next, we see one of my better projects, I guess. This was for Bentley. Actually, this was not chosen, so this was not the final render. Some of you maybe know my final render. I might have had a video about it at some point, but I just made this. This was like the first best idea, but they said it looks like a crashing car. We cannot print this. So yeah, this was never released. And this was the first time I got confronted with not modeling cars because I did not model this car. I did not model the engine. No, I got everything from Bentley. So at the time I was in an internship in this company, C3, in Berlin, and I got all the data. That was the first time I realized, wait a moment, are all cars already made in 3D? And yes, they are. So yeah, let's move on. Next, once again, I was using Cinema 4D. I was fascinated from this new Blender. And yeah, I simulated some water, which was not possible in Cinema 4D at the time. So, yeah, this, I got some help from a guy at the agency back in the day. I know that he watches my videos. Maybe he'll comment below. And yeah, this was basically an infographic. I didn't do the further work on this. I only did the 3D part, and these were some purchased assets. This was also when I quickly realized, wait, you don't model everything? No, you actually purchase most things because there's no time to model a brain and a football player if there's already a lot of football players and brains out there. So yeah, I don't remember the client though. I don't remember which client this was for. Whatever, let's move on. Yeah, here, something interesting, again, where I used Blender and I basically made a particle system, which was pretty new and fancy to me at the time. And I basically just made rain. So they needed rain for some real video footage. And I just created some rain, pretty basic. This actually in a team meeting, I sculpted this in a team meeting. So instead of listening to the meeting, I just made this. So yeah. This was for Bosch at the time, just also an infographic. I don't even know what it was about, but for some magazine or something. But again, I only used the 3D part. And I think this maybe was one of my first or the first Blender project, official project. I'm not sure. This might have been my first Blender project because the Bentley, for example, was in cinema and all the other stuff is just me. This was also cinema. Yeah, the rest was just playing around basically with Blender, but this was not playing around anymore. This was actually using it in a project. So yeah, that's it with a fancy Movable outro. Beautiful. Okay, next video that I made on my own and presented at Volkswagen in person was this video. So once again, my noob ass modeled this Dodge Challenger for no good reason. No, I guess I learned a lot on the way. This was made in Blender because once again I wanted to test Blender. I made a rig using a cloth simulation that I made myself because there weren't really any resources. Yeah, you can see, you can just look straight through the car. I did not know what blackouts were at the time, but I guess the model could be worse. For what I was capable in Blender. So yeah, that's it. Why a Dodge Challenger? So here I was already starting to like American cars. I really wanted a Dodge Challenger. And also this car I never have purchased, but I'm quite likely to do so someday in my life, I'm pretty sure. So that's it. Now you see, you don't always have to be the best. I really was not the best, but I was very, very, very motivated. I did a lot of 3D. I worked very, very long. I did a lot. I was very motivated. So things like this might be more important sometimes, because now that I often get people to work, I much rather have someone that isn't that good and is highly motivated than someone that is really good but arrogant, does it his way, and is not very motivated. It's not going to be very fun to work with someone like that. So sometimes it's not just about being the best 3D artist, it's the all-around package. So maybe this video motivated you a little bit to just keep on going, keep on pushing, become the best, not just as a render artist, but also in business, as everything, as your person. Yeah, that's it. And if you're lucky, next video is gonna be a tutorial, but I don't know.